Some love stories are loud, full of passion, bold confessions, and sweeping moments of destiny. And others are soft, silent, unspoken. This is one of those quiet stories. Layla had just moved into the neighborhood, a quaint little street with blossoming trees and neatly trimmed lawns. It was the kind of place where the mornings smelled like dew and the evenings glowed golden under the streetlights. She was fresh out of college, a psychology graduate with more dreams than plans, a head full of hope, and a heart hungry for new beginnings. Moving into her small rental cottage on Alder Street was supposed to be a fresh chapter. And in many ways, it was. That first morning, while unloading the last few boxes from her car, she saw him. Ryan. He was across the street, throwing a tennis ball to a golden retriever that sprinted like it owned the world. There was something effortless about the way he moved, casual, comfortable in his skin. He wore a simple white t-shirt, cargo shorts, and a backwards cap. His laugh echoed in the air, rich and real. Layla smiled instinctively and gave a small wave. He looked over, grinned, and waved back. That was the beginning. At first, it was just neighborly. Passing greetings. Quick waves from across the street. Occasional comments about the weather or the persistent neighborhood stray cat that seemed to think both their porches were its home. Their interactions were always friendly, never forced. One Sunday morning, Layla was sitting on her front step sipping coffee when Max, Ryan's dog, trotted over with a toy in his mouth and dropped it at her feet. Ryan jogged after him, apologizing with a sheepish smile. He does this to anyone with a warm drink and a soft heart. Layla laughed. Well, I'm guilty of both. That morning turned into a conversation about dogs, favorite breakfast foods, and how Layla accidentally joined a yoga class thinking it was a book club. Ryan laughed, full and genuine. From then on, the interactions slowly became intentional. At first, it was just neighbor stuff. A photo of the neighborhood cat sprawled across her porch. A warning that the recycling truck came early. A funny meme about introverts avoiding doorbells. Then it shifted. Memes turned into pet videos turned into random late-night conversations about everything from space to their favorite childhood cartoons. Layla found herself looking at her phone more often, smiling at the sound of a notification. She'd reread his messages, overanalyzing the length of each pause, the choice of emoji. She caught herself humming after they spoke, dreaming with her eyes open. It wasn't just the way he spoke to her. It was how he made her feel seen. When she talked, he really listened. When she struggled, he didn't offer solutions, just space to be. One chilly evening, they found themselves sitting under the stars, sipping tea in her backyard. Ryan had brought over his campfire lantern and 2 mismatched mugs. They talked about their favorite childhood pets. Layla shared stories of her rabbit named Marshmallow who thought it was a cat. Ryan spoke softly about the dog he lost when he was 12, how it was the first time he understood grief. There was a moment, just one. He looked at her. Really looked. And for a breath, it felt like time froze. Her heart thudded loudly. But then, he looked away. The moment faded. Layla. Maybe I imagined it. Maybe I just want there to be more. She hinted, gently. Offered small openings. Her gaze lingered. Her laughter stretched longer when he joked. She'd text him after midnight just to say something silly. But Ryan never crossed the line. He was kind. Present. But neutral. Friendly, never flirty. Layla rationalized it. Maybe he was shy. Maybe he was scared too. Maybe he didn't want to ruin what they already had. She clung to hope. A quiet, soft kind of hope that lived in glances and lingering goodbyes. Casually. Barely a sentence. Clara from Accounting's dog had the same name as Maximum. Weird coincidence, right? But Layla felt it. The sting. The invisible shift. Her smile didn't falter, but inside, something cracked. Clara. From work. The girl had a name now. Layla told herself it was nothing. But deep down, she knew. The messages from Ryan started to taper. The morning waves became polite nods. The late-night chats dissolved into silence. The ache was slow. Unrequited love doesn't break you all at once. It's a slow unraveling. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard at night. Her heart beat faster every time he texted. But she never did. Because it wasn't the rejection she feared, it was the end of something gentle. She couldn't bear the idea of him pulling away completely. So she loved him quietly. Layla. Loving someone in silence is like holding your breath underwater. Eventually, you have to come up for air. Eventually, she made a choice. Not because she stopped caring, but because she finally realized her heart needed space. She began to distance herself. She stopped replying so quickly, stopped waiting for his messages, stopped looking for him on her walks. Not out of anger, but out of kindness for herself. She started to reclaim her mornings, her weekends, her inner world. She joined a local book club, volunteered at the animal shelter, baked bread for the first time in months. She laughed again. Not the kind of laugh that hides a bruise, but one that bubbles up from joy. Ryan still lived across the street. They still waved. They still smiled. But the ache, it was softer now. Less of a wound, more of a memory. People often ask about the heartbreak that shatters. But what about the love that never even began? The almosts, the maybes, the quiet longings. Layla's love story with Ryan didn't end in tears or confrontation. It ended with a soft exhale. With grace. He was a chapter, not the story. And that's okay. Months passed. The pain turned into peace. The silence turned into strength. Layla learned that love doesn't always need to be returned to be real. Some love stories aren't meant to be lived together, they're meant to shape us quietly. She met someone new one day at a cafe. A man named Daniel, who loved jazz and read poetry out loud. But this story isn't about him. Not yet. Because this story was about choosing herself. Layla. Maybe he wasn't meant to be mine. Maybe he was just meant to teach me what love looks like when it's quiet. When it's patient. When it doesn't ask for anything in return. Today, she still smiles when she sees him. She still waves when Max runs up to her porch. But her heart, it belongs to herself again. And that, more than anything, is a beautiful kind of freedom. Layla. I loved him quietly. I let him go gently. And I chose myself bravely.